Greetings, friends. My name is Volodymyr, and now we are starting the 300th episode of our daily wrap-up series. Truthful information about Ukraine directly from its heart, Kyiv. And the first and one of the most important news is Ukraine destroyed 2 Russian aircraft over the Azov Sea, the long-range radar detection aircraft A-50 and the Il-22M air control center. In terms of the degree of complex damage, this is analog to the destruction of the cruiser Moskva, the flagship of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. Let me tell you about a little what kind of A-50 plane is. This is a special radar aircraft, the main task of which is to detect the launch and flight of missiles. Moreover, it detects these missiles hundreds of kilometers away and was used by the Russians to track the location of our air defense systems. That is, this plane, the main task of which was to detect missiles, was shot down by a missile. In general, according to Military Balance 2022, Russia has only 9 such aircraft. Well, now it is 8 of them. At the same time, 1 more was damaged at the airfield in Belarus last February. And by the way, no one knows how many of these 8 planes are still operational. Regarding Il-22, it is a command air station. How protected do you think it is? In my opinion, it is very strong, but both of these planes were destroyed. In addition to the planes, Russia also lost the professional crews of these aircraft because the process of studying to fly such planes is a job of more than 1 or 2 years. And we're talking not only about pilots or navigators, but also about the personnel on board. There was high-tech equipment which you also need to be able to work with. Therefore, these hits are a very big victory for Ukraine. And as a proof of my words, let's see what Russian social media are writing. There are 2 types of behavior: silence, or Russia is taking desperate measures to reduce the significance of what happened. As we understand, they only confirm that something really painful happened. Russian media are actively claiming that this, as they call accident, is a result of friendly fire. Russians are trying to convince everyone that the friend-foe recognition system did not work. You know, it is like self-discharge of aircraft ammunition in the Voronezh and Krasnodar regions. It is like Russian equipment has free will. It decided on its own to fall and demolish half of the village or hit the aircraft. The technology failed, not humans. And for Russians, it is an everyday sin. The friendly fire version is like a lesser evil. The Kremlin cannot allow Russians to think about Ukraine's ability to shoot down scarce aircraft deep in the rear, because this will have a strong demoralizing effect, especially on the occupation forces in the Kherson and Zaporizhia regions. A technical failure, like the carelessness of the military, is an organic explanation for the Russian army, but these aircraft are too specific and fly as predictably as possible, and was flying over Azov Sea, where Ukrainian forces do not fly. Therefore, the Russians themselves ask the question in the comments: what had to happen for these planes to suddenly become unrecognizable, and no one but 2 aircraft at once? So, the Russian propaganda is trying to balance. It is massively speaking about the losses of Ukrainian aviation, the collapse of the front, etc. But as we know, there are no victories on the front line, just demolished settlements. So now we are waiting for order to redirect people's attention. The Russian authorities will demand that the military urgently organize some kind of victory, take some village, or anything else, which will lead to an even greater increase in losses of Russian occupation troops. Volodymyr Zelenskyy arrived in Switzerland to meet with its leaders and attend the Davos Forum. In Bern, he will meet with heads of both chambers of the parliament, party and fraction leaders, and President Viola Amhed. He will also discuss the return of Ukrainian children stolen by Russia, sanctions, ways to use frozen Russian assets, humanitarian mine clearing, financial assistance and recovery. Later in Davos, the president plans to hold important meetings with EU and NATO representatives to advance our Euro-Atlantic integration, as well as with other leaders and CEOs to strengthen Ukraine's defense and economic resilience. Also in Davos will be discussed 5 of the 10 points of the Ukrainian peace formula. This is restoration of the territorial integrity of Ukraine, withdrawal of Russian troops and cessation of hostilities, Moscow's payment of reparations and the creation of a military tribunal, environmental damage compensation, preventing the escalation of war and repeated aggression, signing a peace treaty with the widest possible participation of states and international organizations. Yesterday, the meeting of national security advisors and foreign policy advisors to the heads of state on the implementation of this very peace formula was held in Davos too. The key principles of achieving a comprehensive, just and lasting peace for Ukraine were discussed in detail.
This is the fourth such meeting, and it is extremely important that each one brings together more participants. More than 80 states and international organizations are now represented. And not only are our usual partners in Europe and North America, but also states from Latin America, Africa, Asia, and Oceania. This is a representative meeting. I am grateful to every leader in every country that takes part in this joint work of ours and confirms by their participation that the rules-based world order must be restored for everyone on Earth, without exception.
And there are first steps. Ukrainian Minister of Defense Rustem Umerov suggested creating an international group for the withdrawal of Russian troops from Ukraine. According to him, it is impossible to talk about restoring the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine without the complete withdrawal and disarmament of Russian troops and terrorist organizations from the temporarily occupied territories. Ukraine and the United Kingdom sign a security agreement. An unprecedented bilateral security agreement is a very important signal to the whole world. It shows that Ukraine has serious allies who will continue to provide strong support. The security agreement between Ukraine and Great Britain is a truly historic event. Guarantees were launched, after which the same agreements will be made with other allies of Ukraine. As President Zelenskyy noted, Ukraine and Great Britain together created a globally important example of security cooperation.
Our key security goal is the alliance, and now, based on this agreement with the UK, we are working with our other partners on bilateral agreements. Nearly 30 states have already joined the G7 Basic Understanding. I am grateful to every state, every leader who is already working with us on security, to all those who will join us this year. And, of course, I thank the UK and personally Prime Minister Sunak for being first and your leadership.
We are one of Ukraine's most significant supporters, particularly when it comes to providing military aid. I'm pleased to be here today to announce an increase in the aid that we're providing. The aid that we've got in place already runs through to the early part of this year, so we're acting in advance of that expiring with a new commitment of £2.5 billion, more than we've provided in previous years. That represents the seriousness of the situation here and our determination to stand with Ukraine. We want to send a strong signal of support to the Ukrainian people, but also a strong signal of support that Vladimir Putin needs to recognise we're not going anywhere. I'm here with one clear message: the United Kingdom stands with Ukraine.
Thanks to this agreement, Ukraine will reach such a security level that the very fact of its existence will deter aggression from the Russian Federation. The United Kingdom supports Ukraine's accession to NATO and recognizes our security as part of the entire Euro-Atlantic security. The guarantees provided will be valid until Ukraine joins NATO. If this happens earlier than the term of the agreement, the created security architecture will be effectively incorporated into the security system of the alliance. Britain fully supports Ukraine, considers as its ally, and believes in the victory of our state. According to Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, the foundation for a security loan partnership between Great Britain and Ukraine is actually being laid now. A basic security agreement has now been concluded. Separate documents will also be concluded, in particular on the long-term nature of the relationship. As noted by Sunak, unprecedented security guarantees from Great Britain in favor of our state have been achieved. This is a signal to the allies, and that Ukraine definitely belongs to the family of free states of the world. And one more important thing, this agreement became possible thanks to the efforts of Ukrainian soldiers who were not afraid to defend their freedom on the battlefield. The courage of our warriors and confidence in victory is rewarded with significant help from the allies. That concludes our today's video for now. Thank you for watching and stay updated. Comment, like and subscribe to our UATV English channel for more news from Ukraine. Your support is that really matters. Goodbye.